Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
I feel like I can hear Andy Harris's voice there shouting with the Republicans there in approval. He joins us now, Congressman from Maryland. That was quite a moment, but there were a lot of great moments in the speech. What was it like in the room as it happened, Congressman?
Oh, it was obviously electric, and you're right. That was a quote for all ages. I mean, the bottom line delivered perfectly. The president is quite the showman. And look, he showed last night exactly why he was elected president, and what a stark contrast between him and the last speech that Joe Biden gave. I mean, it's just it couldn't be sharper.
And I also, what is a contrast to your reaction on the side of the aisle that the Republicans occupy and the Democrats? I feel like Trump specifically had moments daring Democrats to cheer for America, daring Democrats to cheer for a child fighting against cancer, but they couldn't bring themselves to it. I mean, it really was a great snapshot into what you're dealing with every day as you try to negotiate, debate, and reach some, agreement on legislation.
That's absolutely right. We're going to have a continuing resolution fight coming up, and normally the Democrats are all for continuing resolutions, and now because Trump wants one, they don't want one. And look, the American people see right through this. It's exactly as Trump said. If he was announcing the greatest cure of cancer, they wouldn't stand up and cheer.
Andy, some of the people watching from home, we couldn't see some of the disruptions. It was interesting, though. You could see Vice President J.D. Vance, his eyes sort of darting left and right to mainly actually to his right, because there were some screams and some disruptions that, again, didn't come through the television. What were some of those things going on? I think people are curious about, from the perspective of someone in the room. Was it as loud and disruptive? It didn't seem that to be too bad on the television, but again, I think it was just a matter of not hearing it.
That's absolutely right, because, they turn on and off microphones. The only microphone that was on was the president's microphone, so you don't hear any background noise. Mm-hmm. This is true when the House is in session, and we're just doing our own business. So you're not hearing the yells, again, when Mr. Green started his whatever he was doing up front. You weren't seeing that, but you could hear it in the room, and it was totally inappropriate. He absolutely had to be taken out of the chamber. That kind of disrespect. Look, there is some minimum decorum that Americans expect, in a House chamber during a joint address, and clearly the Democrats didn't live up to that decorum yesterday.
Really quickly, Larry, just to follow up on that also, this idea of them not standing when the president came into the room, that's sort of a rule that you stand up for the president when he comes in. Isn't that true?
Yeah, but it started before that. It started with the Democrats refusing to escort the president in.
That's right.
I mean, this is just normal protocol. I mean, it's like, for heads of, anytime someone is brought into the chamber for a joint session, there are joint escorts, both chambers, both parties. This was a complete break from the normal decorum.
We're speaking with Congressman Andy Harris. Not only is he a member of Congress for the state of Maryland, but he's also the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus. You mentioned that continuing resolution. And, of course, your colleague, Chairman Jason Smith at Ways and Means, is trying to cobble together, as President Trump puts it, one big, beautiful bill, a reconciliation package. And, well, it's your caucus, the Freedom Caucus, that is sort of always taking the spotlight here, going through these giant, monstrous bills and trying to sort of bring some fiscal sanity to the proceedings. And I wonder where you stand right now on how this process is going and what you're looking for here, as the president has promised tax cuts, the people voted for tax cuts, and I'm sure the people in the Freedom Caucus are looking for offsetting spending cuts. Where are you right now on this process?
That's absolutely right. So, there are two parallel processes. The reconciliation bill, which, again, we managed to get into a form that delivers on the tax cuts, but also delivers on deficit reduction. And we supported it. Every single member of the Freedom Caucus supported it last week.
Well, let me jump in. You did support it, but you also supported it knowing that this was the initial stage. This is the budget process. There's a couple of more votes to come here. So, I'm guessing a lot of your caucus voted on it, reserving the right to vote no on the next steps.
That's absolutely right, but the close margin indicated that the final bill is going to have to be pretty close to this one, otherwise it's not going to succeed. Next week, we're going to be asked to vote on a continuing resolution for the rest of the year. Obviously, there are a lot of conservatives who don't vote for continuing resolutions usually, but this one's very different. This one boxes in the Democrats. It keeps Elon Musk and Doge going. It avoids the omnibus bill. We will have avoided for the first time in years a massive omnibus bill by doing this. And if we have to negotiate with Democrats to keep the government open, it's going to cost us tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars.
How are you doing in terms of, everyone talks about how Mike Johnson has to wrangle everyone on the Republican side because he's got such a small margin. Are you assuring him that you're going to be able to wrangle everyone in the Freedom Caucus? Will members of your caucus sort of go astray from your leadership and your direction?
Well, look, we're not there yet, but then again, we're a week away from this vote, and a week is a long time. Again, with what we saw last week, a week before that, we were not certain at all that we were going to push the reconciliation bill across the floor, but we did. I think this is a heavy lift for a lot of conservatives, but with the president's full backing of this, and that's why a group of us are going to the White House today. With the president's full backing, I think it's going to be the catalyst to make sure that this works all right next week also.
If I could, Congressman Harris, I know that you are interested in growing the Republican Party in our state of Maryland, and it looks as though Wes Moore and the Democrats are just absolutely obsessed with raising taxes again on Marylanders. How is it looking right now in terms of communicating to Maryland voters exactly how bad this legislative session is?
Well, as you know, we actually have a Maryland Freedom Caucus in the General Assembly now, and that's really important because we point out, just like you said, this governor has already proposed raising taxes $1 billion, and there's more economic woe to come to Maryland. We think by the time all is said and done, it's going to be more like $1.5 billion, maybe $2 billion, and this from a governor who said that he wasn't going to raise taxes.
Right. Yeah, well, one thing the Freedom Caucus was able to do, you stopped the condoms for kindergartners bill. So at least there is a line somewhere there in the state Senate. So congratulations to the Maryland Republicans on that one. Congressman Harris, always good to talk to you, Doctor. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
7:15 WMAL.